Front nine, back nine, or eyeing the 19th hole, wherever you are in life, Hostplus can help you drive your retirement further. That's a plus.
And she looked at me with that little golf bag and she handed me 3-wood. And she said, "Do you see the evergreen straight through the end of the fairway?" I said, "Yes." She goes, "That's where we're going." And then, we laid up before we got, so there's water left and there's water right. And then I still had 5-wood left into a large green. However, she said, if you take it right of the flagstick, you're carrying the bag the rest of the way yourself. So
Sister.
2-putted, shot 69 and blew by the world for the last. So I think that was a really big turning point for me.
Welcome to Talk Birdie To Me with former world number 16 Nick O'Hearn and Tour Pro Mark Allen, live from Titleist and FootJoy headquarters. And thanks to our great partners, Hostplus, the official retirement partner of Talk Birdie To Me. Driving a BMW is like hitting the perfect shot. Smooth, controlled and powerful. Titleist, the clear #1 ball in golf. FootJoy, the #1 shoe and glove in golf. Better, when the greats bet, they bet with Better. Ping will help you play your best. And the Golf Clearance Outlet, who beat everyone's prices. Now, here's Nick and Mark.
G'day everybody, welcome to the program. And for Hostplus today, and it is a big plus, believe me, Nicholas, is to have somebody of the ilk of Dottie Pepper, a 2-time major champion. She won 17 times on the LPGA Tour, a fabulous pedigree as an amateur as well. And let's welcome her in, Dottie Pepper.
Guys, thanks. And I've been looking forward to this for a while. So let's do it.
Dottie, tell us, how did you get into golf?
Through family. My dad's mom was the genesis of it, and then more to my dad. My dad played Major League Baseball here in the United States.
Oh, wow.
And as many who retire or leave the game, they took up their competitive juices needed to go somewhere. And my dad played golf. And the beauty of it was that he played left-handed. So I had that mirror image of a great athlete swinging the club, bat and stick, bat and ball, sort of contact of a great athlete to watch essentially in a mirror. So when my grandmother got me a series of lessons when I was the summer, I went from 7 to 8 years old, from a journeyman professional, 5 lessons, the basics of, holding the club properly, some sort of a swing plane, emphasis on balance, basic things, and we'll figure the rest out later. But
Nice.
it was definitely family driven.
Now, is it true that your dad built a pitch and putt little course in your backyard? Is that right?
It was down the street from our house on the 45,000 head of turkey farm that my grandfather had. And when the farm went out of business, my dad had left baseball, left insurance, and said, I want to do something on my own. And the advice was, don't do something that's your passion, which meant baseball. Do something that you really like to do, but you're not going to be disappointed if it doesn't completely blow up and be great. And that was golf for him. And it afforded me, because the longest hole was 90 yards.
Yeah.
And we had a driving range that was in the neighborhood of 275 yards long, lit, so you could play at night. It afforded me an opportunity to not only get my hands on a golf club any day of the week I wanted to, with a putting green and a bunker. And it was kind of the introduction to my world of agronomy too, because we were, putting this facility to bed for winter. We were going, cook grass, we were picking balls, we were doing all of that. So it was, while it wasn't a huge success, it was, in hindsight, an amazing foundation for me.
So, Dottie, when did you know, or when could you at least feel that golf was your game and that you were better than most of the people that you were playing against?
I wanted to go play in the state junior championship when I was 13, and my dad put the brakes on it. My mom and dad both did, because they knew I would expect to go into that arena and expect to win.
Right.
And that disappointment, I think, drove me to well, if you're going to say no, I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to get really good, and I'm going to mature at a level that next year I can go to the state championship. And sure enough, I ended up being medalist, and
Wow.
it was, it was, sometimes people take a no and turn it into a yes, and for me it was a healthy year of maturity, but it was also I'm going to do this. Gosh darn it.
Yeah.
And I also heard you forced your way onto the high school golf team. But Mark, guess what? There's no girls. She was number one on the high school golf team, which was all boys. Is that correct?
Are you kidding me?
It was all boys, guys, until 2019.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's amazing.
Okay, so just one more, leading amateur in a US Open as well. I see. I did see where you were a 3-time All-American, won 5 times in college, but that leading amateur in a US Open. Now, when I was growing up watching US Opens and major championships from Melbourne, I always used to look at the leading amateurs in the Opens and the major championships. How big a kick along was that for you?
It changed the trajectory of my amateur career for sure. I finished tied 21st, which was one shot out of being exempt into the championship for the next year.
Holy moly.
But it also, while that was a disappointment, it also allowed me access to the U.S. Amateur, women's amateur later that summer, which I would have not. There's no way my parents would have sent me to Seattle to play in the women's amateur. So we had to scramble the money to stay in private housing, but get on a flight and pay for a caddy. And my grandparents made that happen. So it changed the rest of that summer, but it also exposed me to the opportunity to continue to play well and make the Curtis Cup team in '86.
Wow.
And just really realized that I could compete at the highest level.
And then it was a matter of, I'm assuming that just gave you the impetus to turn pro. That was kind of a no-brainer. And then once you did turn pro, was it a smooth transition, or did you take your time to sort of find your feet and get that first win? Because what was it, 17 tour titles on the LPGA Tour?
17.
It was pretty bumpy, I would tell you. I didn't have enough money. I was self-funded, so I didn't have enough money to play more than half a year. I did have some money in the bank from my grandmother, who introduced me to the game, but I couldn't get my hands on it until August because it was in a certificate of deposit. Right. So I had to go to my grandfather on the other side and ask for a $5,000 loan in 1987 after I got out of school, turned professional, lost my exemption to get into the Women's Open because I turned pro. At that time, you couldn't carry that Curtis Cup amateur exemption, and so I had to go back to qualifying. Played the wrong 9 holes in qualifier with my sister as a caddy and still managed to win the qualifier. Right? We had to make our own yardage book, and we spent all that time on the wrong 9 holes of a 27-hole facility.
Unbelievable.
Oh, no.
That's too funny.
And managed to make enough money in that Women's Open. I don't know, I finished 13th, 14th. You could look it up. But I walked in when my check came via the regular mail. I made $8,700, and I walked in and paid my grandfather back within the month. And I said, okay, now I've got enough to make it through the rest of the in-between season to go to Q school, paid my entry fee, that sort of thing. And then somewhere between missing the first pre-qualifier in Kansas and having to drive to Sarasota, Florida from upstate New York, somebody by the name of Shank got in the back of my seat of my car and rode me all the way through the next 2 stages of qualifying school. And I did unload one during the final round of Q school at Sugar Land in 1987.
Incredible.
Oh.
Now,
Brutal.
was that your breakthrough? I mean, I love hearing about tour pros that go on to be somebody in the world of golf. It's nice to hear the bumpy bit, but was there a breakthrough moment where you finished the week and you thought you'd arrived on the scene?
We got to the 72nd hole, and I'd managed to make bogey on the hole that I rifled it directly into the middle of the lake. I mean, it didn't even signal to turn right. My sister was caddying for me. And we got to the last hole. Now imagine so this is 1987. I'm 22. It means my sister's 18. She was still, she had just gotten out of high school. And she looked at me with that little golf bag and she handed me 3-wood. And she said, "Do you see the evergreen straight through the end of the fairway?" I said, "Yes." She goes, "That's where we're going." And
Nice.
then,
I
so
like
we laid
it.
up before we got, so there's water left and there's water right. And then I still had 5 wood left into a large green. However, she said, if you take it right of the flagstick, you're carrying the bag the rest of the way yourself. So I hit it in the middle of
What a
the
sister.
green, 2-putted, shot 69 and blew by the world for the last. So I think that was a really big turning point for me.
Wow.
Wow, huge. I love
Huge.
I like the way your sister
Huge.
caddies. What a star.
Yeah, she put the hammer down.
Did she come out on tour with you to caddy, by the way, or was
She
it?
did over spring break every year when
Wow.
she was still going through high school, and it paid for her to do a lot of cool things because I'm trying to remember. We were playing the SNH Classic in St. Pete, and we top 10'd it. And, that was a lot of money for her to get 7% of what I made. For a kid still in high school, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, she did okay when she was out there with me.
Okay, so we go from there to 1992 to where you win your first major. They call it the Chevron these days. And you were the player of the year on the LPGA Tour. You won the money list. What developed in your game the most to go from that moment where, things are all of a sudden starting to look rosy to being on top of the world of professional women's golf?
I would tell you, and this not just because we're doing this podcast, but it turned for me at Cairns in 91 when we had the Women's World Golf Championship there, and Meg Mallon won.
Right.
I don't think Meg's ever found the trophy that she was supposed to have gotten. This piece of crystal just went completely MIA, but she won, and I finished second for I don't know how many times that year, but I finished third on the money list and never won a golf tournament. And that was sort of an indicator to me that good things were happening. And if you look over the course of my career, I tended to really come out ready to play in the winter, spring leading into a new season. And that's really what happened in 92. I'd had a really good off season, gotten healthy, kind of got into a really good groove and came out playing really well. And that win at what we, those of us of my age still call the Dyna was transformative because it came off a season A where I didn't win, but B where I played good enough golf that I knew I could win.
Yeah, that was the Dyna Shore back then from memory, I think. And you won that twice,
that's right.
7 years later in 99. I got a question. Right. I mean, because the women's game, they have 5 majors at the moment.
Sometimes 6.
Sometimes 6.
Yeah.
And then
Can
the
I
British...
hear 7? No, I'm
so,
sorry.
yeah. Do you think there should be just 4? But we've had this discussion on the podcast for a long time.
I'm so on board with you. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Good.
Which one? Okay. Now this is going to be a hard decision for you. Which one leaves?
Well, I know which one I think.
If you've only got 4, which one is not there anymore?
I understood the economics of it, the pressure behind it, but the Evian, to me, doesn't have the traction that the other 4 do.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the golf course, I mean, players were boycotting it for, I think, a couple of years. Well, when I say boycott it, they said, it's not a great course. I think Lexi Thompson might have skipped it a couple of times. I don't know. So
it's not a draw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us, Dottie, you watch the women's tour now, and it is, the golf swings, it's so professional. You can see, from even, I think, 20 years ago, the women's game has developed so much. What's been the biggest push in seeing women's professional golf? I'm not saying that the best players are any better, but I'm saying the fields are so much stronger. Where's that come from?
Well, I think it's certainly training. It's better teaching. It's better access to better golf clubs. I mean, when I started on tour, I was still hauling my own golf balls and gloves around every week. Titleist would send us a box to get through a month, or send them out had to make sure that you had all of it. So I think that convenience has kind of made the lift a little bit lighter, but I think it's instruction. I think it's agronomy too. There's much more consistency across the golf courses that the LPGA does play, the preparation. So there's not that surprise. I mean, I remember Beaconsfield during the Du Maurier, which was a major championship in the late 80s. They had Pythium roll through the golf course 2 weeks later, and it had devastated the greens.
Wow.
And play a major championship on them. So I think that sort of attention to detail has raised the level across the entire women's game. And I think you look at players like Nelly Korda, who has mechanically such a remarkable golf swing, and it's modeled off, her great athletic DNA in her family, but she had access to teachers that the guys did, and that wasn't always the case when the players of my era came up through.
Well, look, that's our front nine, Nicholas. I'm really looking forward to the second nine because I want to talk about the world of commentary. And Nick and I, we've done a lot of commentary in our background, but you're somebody who's welcome into all Australian homes on a Monday morning, Dottie. We want to get your take on that. So that's next.
What I'm working on in my swing at the moment is being able to sync my lower body to my upper body on the way down. The Hyperflex shoe offers the stability and comfort that I'm looking for in my golf swing. Golf shoes are a huge part of golf equipment, especially when I'm working with the longer clubs like 3-wood and driver. I'm really able to go to another gear and know that I'm going to be supported. My name is Elvis Smiley and these are my FJs.
Front nine, back nine, or eyeing the 19th hole, wherever you are in life, Hostplus can help you drive your retirement further. That's a plus.
From Titleist and FootJoy headquarters, this is Talk Birdie To Me. We're here for BMW, luxury and comfort for the 19th hole. Hostplus, the official retirement partner of Talk Birdie To Me. The golf clearance outlet, they beat everyone's prices. Ping will help you play your best. And better, ahead of the game. Now for Titleist, the number one ball in golf, and FootJoy, the number one shoe and glove in golf. Here's Nick and Mark.
Well, for Hostplus, we're here with Dottie Pepper, and it's time to talk about the commentary world. And Nick, it's something that's, it's, for us here in Australia, Dottie, watching on, in the Northern Hemisphere and all the big tournaments around the world, it's something that we're all experts on. We all think we are.
Well, we all think we are.
We all think we are.
And when I was playing over there in the US, I used to hit Dottie a lot on the on the television, and then also became now the premier on-course commentator, you could say. So.
Well, when I was hosting and we were working together as a team, I would always say the best job and the most important job is the person walking the fairways, because they can see what is possible and, more importantly, what's not possible with that shot. And Dottie, you do it with aplomb. I mean, you really set up shots so well, and you're a big part of the commentary team. When did you feel like you had a real art for that?
I still feel like it's developing. I'm a pretty tough critic on myself, and I like, I've had so many people that I was so fortunate that opened their hearts and their library of knowledge to me as whether they're doing play-by-play, whether they were hole announcers, whether they were on the golf course. And when I picked their brains, they were really honest and open and sharing of the things that they felt like they could do better or that they did well and could pass it on to that next generation. And Mike Tirico was one of those people that he goes back and watches all of his shows. And you think about what Mike does from American football to basketball to golf he hosting the Olympics. There's nothing that Mike hasn't done or can't do, whether radio or television. And when you think of a guy of that acclaim, of that accomplishment, going back and looking at his own shows, then why in the world can't I do that? Looking for the timing, the inflection, the ticks, overusing some words, coming up with a better word maybe the next time that you watch it. So I try that, and I also go back to Judy Rankin was and still is such a huge part of my life. And her whole thing was, you're going to get nervous, and there are two things you need to remember: say as much as you can in as few words as possible, and just talk about what you know. And if you go down and slow things down to those basic principles and then review it, you can't help but still be in a growth pattern.
Yeah, totally. It's interesting because you have the people in the booth, and then on course in the TV towers, and then you're on the golf course. So your time that you have is so short. And I want to read something that Jim Nantz actually said about you, because I looked this up and I thought this is brilliant, and it sort of explains everything. And I almost want to ask you a little question after this, and you probably answered it just then. But it says, Jim Nantz says, look, you need to be succinct to the point. Sound like you're saying something fresh, different, phrased in a way that no one's ever heard before. Dottie checks all those boxes.
Bang.
To be the player she was, she had amazing tempo and timing as a golfer. But that doesn't mean you're going to have it as a broadcaster.
That's right.
She does. She has the ability to say a lot in a small amount of time. Now, there's such an art to that. I mean, there really is, and we know there is. But for the casual viewer out there, for them to try and do it, they would fall all over themselves and hit that hosel rocket that you did in the Q score. I mean, do you have a little secret to it, or is it just what you just said then? Okay, what can I get in the most amount of info in the shortest amount of time?
Yeah. So there are two things that I learned super early on, was that the average time of a golf ball in the air from contact to contact, from land to land, is 7 seconds. So there's your window, really, and you don't want to talk over that contact of golf ball and club.
Mine's only about 5 seconds, by the way.
It might be less than that. And when some of these guys, so Cameron Young, I mean, at the tour or at the Players, I mean that drive was probably 8.5 pushing 9.
Unbelievable.
So you got a big margin there. It's so that gives you an idea about what your time in the air is. But if it's coming to you live, there might be a little bit of setup time. And then by the time you put a period on it, it's usually gone back to Nance in the tower or for Trevor. So it does have to be succinct. But I also had great advice about why I was hired originally at NBC from Tommy Roy, who's still their lead golf producer. And he said, I didn't hire you because you were a female. I didn't hire you because of what you would sound like on a microphone. The microphone doesn't know whether you're male or female. I hired you because you know the game. So if you look at it through, the game. It's my DNA. I've played golf now for 50 plus years. You develop a library and been places, you've smelled it, you've heard it. And those are the relatable things I think that we can try to get across to the people who have given us their time to watch these shows and make it entertaining, but also educating for them.
Dottie, just something's just popped in my head. The US Open, it's US Open Women's this week, but I want to go back to the last US Open and Aaron Rye hardly missing a shot on that back nine. Now,
that was the PGA.
The PGA, excuse me. The PGA,
yes.
The PGA hardly missing a shot on those last 10 holes. Now, my memory is that you were shifted to him once he got on a roll, were you or not?
No, we left him uncovered. I was in the last group because Alex Smalley again was making a late move, just as he did on Saturday, and Matty Schmid was still part of the story. So there was mathematical chance even at the 15th hole, 14 and 15, because Rye hadn't holed the long putt at 17 yet.
Okay. So my question was going to be, was that the best run you've ever seen? But I'll just turn it around. What's the best golf you've ever seen in your commentary life?
Recently, it would certainly be that. It would be Rye making eagle at 9 and coming home in 31.
Yeah.
And his dad falling asleep. Did you guys read that?
No.
What?
So his father loves to camp, and he's got a mobile camper home that he loves to go all over the UK. First call he made when he finished was to his dad, who was sound asleep. He fell asleep at about the 15th.
Are you joking?
Yes, that's totally true.
My goodness.
How
He's missed the whole
amazing
back
is that?
nine.
Basically missed the big run.
Jeez.
Nerves of steel, obviously, the dad.
Right? I know my kids got this handled. I'm just going to go to sleep.
Well, what about some of Tiger's golf that you would have been, a front row seat to?
For certain. Roger Maltby told me early on too, because he was the lead walker at NBC when I came through, and I was third, and it was again one of those guys that I picked his brain, and he said, never say never to a golf shot that Tiger Woods is standing over, because he'll make you look like a fool faster than anybody on the planet. And he's so true.
Yeah.
He was just so right. Some of my favorite Tiger memories had nothing to do with him winning golf tournaments. It was as Tiger as a human being. And it was talking about his dogs, or having the sweat running down every crevice in your body at Bellerive or outside Washington, D.C. in the middle of the summer. It's the moments that he was completely like the facade started to crack. And that's what I loved about covering Tiger. And 2 years ago, I lost one of my dearest friends back from high school. A competitive athlete, lawyer. She would call me on the carpet if I was being an idiot at any moment. And she passed away from a very rare form of cancer, but she took up golf because she loved the fight in Tiger Woods.
Wow.
And I don't even have Tiger's number in my phone. I have very few players' numbers in my telephone because I respect the relationship, the professional relationship. But I called in a favor through Finchy because I knew Tiger meant so much to my friend Kim Galvin. And Tiger Woods picked up the phone, and I swear she lived another 6 months because of that conversation.
Wow. Incredible.
Yeah, it was
I love
just,
those
so those
stories.
are the special moments that it's not even on the golf course. It's those personal moments that mean so much.
That's amazing. Yeah. Now, one last question before we sort of move into something else. But you became the first on-course walking commentator at Augusta in 2020 for the Masters.
What an honour.
Yeah.
Isn't that an honour, by the
what
way?
an honour.
So it was a huge honor.
You would have
and a
seen
lot of pressure too, I would say.
and I have to assume the 2025 Masters, Rory McIlroy, last group, that whole scenario, you must have just been going on a roller coaster like all of us.
Like all of us, yes.
I mean, that shot he hit on 15, Mark calls it the greatest shot ever hit in the history of golf.
In the history of golf.
Yeah.
Yep.
He needs a second that starts low, underneath one limb, rises and turns over. 7 iron, 207.
Some sound yesterday set up an eagle. Is this enough? It is! Oh, here it comes! The shot of a lifetime!
Yeah, I would put that up there, yes. And that comes on the heels of probably one of the worst in the situation with the third at 13. So the flip side is so dramatic, and I got to see there and smell it and hear it and set it up and react to it in real time. And it was, but you're right. I mean, it's a privilege, but it's also a lot of pressure to be in that position and try not to be seen, but be heard properly. That was another great moment with Tiger, frankly. In 2020, we had a rain delay the opening round. So we get all this build up to a November 2020 Masters. Short daylight, we're going to be crunched up against darkness. And there's a rain delay. Huge storm rolls in overnight, and the golf course is pretty wet. So everything gets backed up by a couple of hours. And so my assignment, instead of going from Dustin Johnson early in the round, was to catch Tiger midway through the second 9. And I caught him at 13 green coming up, and I let the players pass me at 14, and I cut across from the right side to the left. And he did a double take and turned around and he went, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah.
And I said, "It's so 2020, isn't it?" And we had a good laugh because everything was kind of thrown up in the air at that time because you're trying to make it all work. And fortunately, it worked.
Dottie, Talk Birdie To Me today is brought to you by Hostplus. Just so you know, it's the #1 retirement superannuation fund that we have in the country. So I'm not trying to retire you, but what I would like to know...
Maybe I am.
What I'd like to know is where do you see yourself in your retirement when it comes?
I still see myself watching a lot of golf on television. I know that. I love being in my garden and being around that space. I actually spent a little bit of time out there. This is a magical time of the year here in the United States, as you know, in zone 4B that we are now. watching things that you put to bed properly in the winter come full bloom. I see myself getting back on skis during the winter. I mean, I love sporting, and there's a few things I would like to do in that world. Like I want to go to the Hahnenkamm. I want to go see that race in Europe, and I want to experience a European winter. So I don't see myself sitting still too much. We also have launched a Christian music ministry here in Saratoga Springs. So I'm in that concert kind of vibe and putting those shows together. So I don't think there'll be much downtime. But when the moment comes, I have a friend that's in that space, because you talk about it. I mean, I'm 60 now. Finchy was 64, I think, when he said goodbye to us last year. We still miss him every day. Does the jacket still fit? And I think when it was a little too snug, or if it's maybe even if it's just too big, it's too big to fill into, then I think you have that conversation about what do I want to do in plan C, because I had an amazing plan A. I've had arguably a plan B that I've loved even more than I did playing my time on tour and competing. And then, there's still plenty left.
Well, Dottie, you have had one of the most amazing lives in golf that we have ever seen. You're a big name in this wonderful world of golf, and we wish you all the best. We're so glad to hear that your dog Rupert has pulled through.
Rupert gave us a couple of scares during the final round of the PGA Championship, but he is back to being his rambunctious self, and he will be out on the West Coast with us again next year. People on tour, it's unbelievable to me, the social media following that dog has. And my husband will be walking him somewhere and go, wait, is that Rupert? It's like, oh gosh.
Impossible.
Yep, that's my wife's social media again.
Thank you, Dottie. Thanks for giving up some of your time for us down here in Australia. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Dottie.
Thanks, guys. This was great.
How about that, Dottie Pepper? And for the record, I reckon she's going to get more views than Ian Baker.
Oh, absolutely.
I reckon
That'll wind him up no end.
All right, folks, thank you so much for joining in. We appreciate it. And for Hostplus, Dottie Pepper is a big plus for golf.
Brilliant.
That was so fun.
Yeah, really good. Are you heading to Memorial this week?
I am. I'll go Thursday afternoon. I'm actually having dinner with Roger Maltby on Friday night and Judy Rankin on Thursday night. So this is a huge.
There you go. Well, say hi to Roger for me.
I get to hang with my pals.
Who are they honouring this year?
David Graham.
Oh, that's right. They are too. I forgot about
Graham
that.
is the
David.
honoree.
Yeah. Does he still set the pins at the Masters?
I don't. Yeah, the Tea and Cup Committee, right? Yes, that's right.
He used to. Absolutely.
So you'll have to check this out on the tournament website. Roger won 50 years ago, the inaugural.
Oh wow.
Memorial. The inaugural memorial, and he had those horrible plaid trousers on.
Right.
And they do a bear for the Nationwide Children's Hospital every year. So I'll see. Let me see if I can find. Oh, so this one. Hold on 2 seconds.
David Graham. I didn't know David Graham.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I remember about a month ago I'd heard it. Yeah, that's fantastic.
This one was Pandal. Oh. And Pandal was, and they sell them in merch for like $25 a piece, and you can do a $25 matching donation that goes to the hospital. And the bears, that matching donation gets a bear for one of the kids that's in the oncology unit. Awesome. Pandal was one of the founders of Muirfield Village and a neighbor of Jack's. And Pandal he played in the Rose Bowl for Ohio State, just an amazing athlete. Well, this year they're doing the Maltby bear. Oh, right. And he has the trousers.
Oh, how good.
It's so good.
Unbelievable.
Be like a Paddington bear almost.
You don't miss a trick over there. That's fabulous.
Exactly right. And apparently sales have been like, hotter than a firecracker.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Thanks again, Dottie.
Pretty great.
Thanks again.
All right. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for your flexibility again.
Pleasure.
Thanks.
No problem.
Okay.
Talk Birdie To Me with Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen. Live from Titleist and FootJoy headquarters. Titleist, the #1 ball in golf. FootJoy, the #1 shoe and glove in golf. The Golf Clearance Outlet, they beat everyone's prices. BMW, luxury and comfort for the 19th hole. Better, ahead of the game. Ping will help you play your best. And Hostplus, they can help you drive your retirement further. Now that's a plus. Issued by Hostplus Pty Limited. This is general advice. Consider the PDS and TMD on our website before deciding. Wherever you listen or watch, we'd love you to subscribe and share the pod with a friend. Talk Birdie To Me's executive producer is Dan Bradley at Kaizen Media. sound design by Daryl Misson at loudzebra.com. And now from Titleist and FootJoy headquarters, that's been Talk Birdie To Me.
Front 9, back 9, or eyeing the 19th hole, wherever you are in life, Hostplus can help you drive your retirement further. That's a plus.
Introducing the all-new Titleist GTS. A driver that fuses a breakthrough split-mass design with a faster, more forgiving face and our most precise fitting system to create our longest driver ever. Take your game farther with Titleist GTS.